Hey, it's your local fish keeper Sabrina. So in today's video, I would like to talk about Saba puffers, and this video is not going to be so much of a care guide, but instead it's going to be about my experience caring for a Saba pufferfish. I feel like they're not talked about online enough, so hopefully by sharing this, I get to connect and learn more about them from other Saba puffer keepers. But before that, a quick update on Artemis and Ness, my green spotted puffers. First off, thank you so much for all of your well wishes. Fortunately, there is progress. Their activity and appetite levels remain the same throughout their treatment period, which I'm very grateful for. Ness's wounds and bite marks have improved tremendously. I was actually curious as to how his skin is going to heal, but something very interesting that I found is that the part of his skin that got munched on grew new spotted patterns. I thought that was incredible. As for Artemis, she still has a little bite mark bruise, but it doesn't seem to bother her as much, so I hope that heals up soon too. So behind me here is Hewie, the Saba puffer. The scientific name for a Saba pufferfish is Dichotomyctere Sabahensis. The most popular question that I get about Hewie here is, how do I know that Hewie is a Saba pufferfish and not a green spotted puffer? I don't blame them because green spotted puffers and Saba puffers at a glance do look quite similar. Actually, there's also another species that look very similar to those two. They're called the Dichotomyctere puffers, but I'm not going to talk about them today. There are actually a few characteristics that differentiate a Saba puffer from a green spotted puffer. I've heard a lot of people mention that if the puffer has spots on their tails, that means it's a Saba pufferfish. However, I don't think that's necessarily true and accurate because some green spotted puffers also have spots on their tails. Luckily, I have both species, so here are some of my personal observations regarding the two. Firstly, let's focus our attention on the quote-unquote snout of the puffer. Saba puffers' patterns or spots do not extend throughout their snout, while green spotted puffers' spots do extend up to their snout. When they're juveniles, it's still quite difficult to tell, but once they reach about 3 inches and above, you can differentiate between the two. Next are spots. Saba puffers tend to have broken spots with a gap in between their spots, while green spotted puffers have solid spots. Again, when they're younger, Saba puffer do look similar to green spotted puffers and may have solid looking spots. The thing with the Dichotomyctere genus or species is that I believe that there are still plenty of undescribed species or subspecies and maybe even regional variants that have not been described out there, but that's not my forte, so who am I to talk? Thirdly, their eyes. I feel like there's something different about their eyes, but I can't seem to pinpoint it or put it into words. Maybe you can? So feel free to put it down in the comment section below and help us out here. As for water parameters, of course, I keep Hewie in a cycled brackish tank, so 0 ammonia, 0 nitrites, about 10 nitrates, what else? pH level of 7.5 to 8, and a specific gravity of 1.010. And also, I do have aragonite sand in Hewie's tank. So currently, I am keeping 4 out of the 6 described Dichotomyctere genus or species. And I find that, and I'm talking about Dichotomyctere genus specifically and not other species of puffers, I find that every single species in this genus, they do require some amount of marine salt in their waters, regardless, even if they're found in fresh water in the wild. And I'm talking about figure 8s there. With Hewie here, I keep her at a specific gravity of 1.010. From my personal observations and tests, if it goes anything above specific gravity of 1.014, Hewie's colors do seem to darken, and for lack of better words, she doesn't seem like herself. In the tank that she was in before I brought her home, she was in a freshwater tank, and that didn't work out so well either. So after months of tries, I find that at specific gravity of 1.010 is where she's most stable. Diet-wise, Hewie's diet here is pretty similar to my other Dichotomyctere genus puffer's diet. Her favorite food to this day is ramshorn snails. The thing with that is ramshorn snails take quite some time to grow and they're never enough for her, but I still feed them to her as she loves them so much. Besides that, Hewee's diet consists of feeder snails, dubia roaches, earthworms or night crawlers, cockle meat, and the occasional freshwater crabs or freshwater lobster or crayfish. As with other Dichotomyctere genus, they do require crunchy and meaty food in order to help trim their teeth down. So the other day, I stumbled across another Saba puffer I found on YouTube who ate and crunched through the shells of cockles, but Hewie doesn't do that. Cockles that are native to my country have very hardy shells, so sometimes a pufferfish could get hurt from trying to crunch through it. So Hewie here doesn't even attempt to do that. Apart from that, I try to avoid food that contains thiaminase, such as krills, shrimps, prawns, and clams. Next, lighting. So Hewie here isn't the biggest fan of bright lights, which is why I've set up a very basic light bar for her tank. Coloration, also a very common question that I get regarding puffers in general. So maybe one day I'll actually sit down and make a specific video on puffers and coloration, as a lot of you guys seem to be interested in it. So please let me know. In general, Saba puffers, especially when they're adults, have very dull looking coloration as compared to green spotted puffers with their bright, shiny neon heads. So Saba puffers' sleeping habits and behaviors are very similar to that of other Dichotomyctere genus or species. So for instance, they'll curl up into a ball with their tail tucked in, and they'll sleep in either crevices or caves or even on the sand bed. So that pretty much sums up as to how I care for Hewie, here, my Saba pufferfish. If you are a fellow Saba puffer keeper, please write in the comment section below, as I would love to hear your experience on caring for one. And if you don't own one, I'm very interested in hearing your thoughts on the Saba puffer species. If you would like to see more content, please like and subscribe, as it helps the channel a lot. Until then, see you next time. Say bye-bye, Hewie. Bye-bye.